Hello, everybody. How are you? I'm Belinda Wasser from the Virtual Assistant Connection. I am excited for today. I love this topic as being a virtual assistant for you. And I'm excited about how many people registered and how many people are popping on. So I'm just going to pause for a minute while people jump on and just kind of say hi. So it's 1 o'clock here in Connecticut, and it's a really sunny day. In fact, I've got the shade down, if you can believe it, because it's so sunny. I'm starting to think about my garden. Actually, when I go outside, I go outside usually around 5 o'clock. Right before the sun setting to let the chickens out. And I'm starting to visualize. I have a ladder and I put all kinds of flowers on it, and starting to think about what that's going to be like and what color flowers I'm going to get. And I'm pretty excited. So I'm going to just wait a couple of minutes while people come on. I would love for you to put in the comments where you're coming in from. And if you're already a VA or you're just thinking about it. I have to say that I've been a VA for 10 years and I love it. I love how much flexibility I have. I love that I'm in charge of how much money that I make. I just love the whole lifestyle. You know, every once in a while I'll talk to somebody who has a traditional job, and I hear about, the politics and the crazy stuff. And I think, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I don't have anything to do with that. At all. So, all right. Well, while people are coming on and saying hi in the comments and letting me know where you're coming in from and where you are on your VA journey, I'm gonna introduce myself a little bit. And I'm going to say this now. I'll say it again in a minute. This is all about you. From Dallas. Oh, good. I hope you're back in shape. I know Dallas got hit pretty hard with that snowstorm, Snowmageddon, I think it's being called. This is really all about you. I've come up with 7 questions, and I'm going to talk through those. We're going to interject your questions and your comments, and really nothing is off limits. We're going to talk about money. We're going to talk about clients. We're going to talk about how to get clients. We're going to talk about it all. Oh, great. Hi, Linda. You're from Florida and a newbie. Awesome. I wonder what the temperature is down there. I should look that up. I think it's kind of cold here actually, but the sun makes such a difference, such a huge difference. All right, so while other people are joining us, I want to tell you my story. So this is me 10 years ago, maybe one of the lowest points of my adult life. I was getting divorced. I was in the middle of a messy divorce, and this is my daughter Emily. She's 9 years old, and you can see a little snuggle muffin. She's 19 now, and so I was in the middle of getting divorced, figuring out how to be a single mom. I had not paid the mortgage for over a year, and I had a ton of debt piling up, credit card debt, loans from friends, family, the whole thing. And it was very stressful. And I also didn't have a job. So I didn't have a clear plan on how I was going to get out of this. And everywhere I looked was like a mess. There was this to clean up and that to clean up. And it was kind of hard to breathe. I'm a planner, and I'd spent 17 years in corporate, and I, had my life pretty pulled together. And then I looked up, and it was a mess. So I didn't know what to do, and my back was really up against the wall. I knew I didn't want to get a job. I had Emily when I was 40. It took a long time to get her. And I didn't want her shuttled around all over, the world, between friends and family. I actually didn't have family living close by. So I didn't want her to be shuttled around while I was working. And my last job was in IT. And, IT is, it's demanding, and you're on call. And with just the two of us, there's no way I could have left to go restart a server or something, like that. So I had to figure it out. So I started telling people about So first I started to temp. It's like sometimes I get lost in the story a little bit. I started to temp. I'd been an admin in the past. I'd been a secretary in the dark ages. And I knew that I liked that kind of work and I was good at that kind of work. So I thought, well, what if I can do that from home? And being a virtual assistant wasn't like still a lot of people don't know what it is, but really 10 years ago when I started, hardly anybody knew what that meant. And they didn't understand that you could work remotely even. So I started telling everybody I knew, and I thought, okay, let's just see what happens. So one day I told one of the dads at the school bus stop, and he hired me. He was starting a new company. I had no idea. And he needed the kind of help that I knew how to do. He needed someone to pay his bills. He needed someone to go to the Apple store and buy computers, like not really high tech things that I needed to learn, but things that I could, that I knew how to do. So that was really great. I kept telling everybody I knew. My next client I met at a wedding reception. Not that, probably, I don't know, a couple of months later, I started working with him, and then referrals started coming in. And before you know it, I had a whole bunch of clients. The first year I made $70,000, and the next year I made $100,000. And I've been doing that ever since, working from home as a VA. And it's been great. So I was able to raise my daughter. I was able to spend time with her, pick her up from school. If she wasn't feeling well, take her to the doctor, be at the school bus stop. A lot of things that I think that if I had gone back into corporate, I know I would have missed. It just would have been a completely different life. And Linda says, it's beautiful 80s. I do not want to talk about that. And someone says they love Florida. Yeah, Florida sounds pretty good right now, actually. I can't wait till it warms up. I'm just cold. So fast forward that story, 10 years. And like I said, I've been in business for 10 years. I've worked with over 200 clients, really lovely people who are respectful and treat me well and, pay me on time and all of those things that we want as a business owner. And I've been able to make $1 million in revenue from home over the 10 years, which is pretty astounding when you think about it. And the other thing I want to tell you is I didn't have any special skills other than I work hard and I'm willing to figure stuff out. So if something comes to me and I don't know how to do it, and I want to learn, I figure it out. And I think that has been the most important part of my journey as a VA, is that I'll just stick my head in, figure it out. So now this is what it looks like today. This is my daughter, Emily, at 19. This is my boyfriend, Greg. We've been together for 9 years. And I have to say that if someone, actually one of my best friends, she said this to me. She said, okay, so if 5 years ago, when I was like that friend who was a special project, everyone was trying to help me because I was such a mess, which is not how I spent most of my life. So it was very uncomfortable. But she said, if I would have told you, 5 years ago that you were going to live in Connecticut, I lived in Boston before, you're going to be, Emily was going to be in great shape. 8th grade was really rough on her. And, now she's happy, well-adjusted, friends, horseback riding, all of that. She's doing great. She's off at college. And she said that you would be in a really good relationship and that you would have your debt handled and, you would have this thriving company. I would have told her she was crazy because I really felt like I was old enough at that point that I had made choices that I was not going to be able to reverse. I just figured, okay, my life is a struggle. It's just going to be a struggle. And that's just the way it is. And that's not how it turned out. And I still have to pinch myself because I just was sure, but I put my head down, I worked hard, and being a VA is awesome because the thing is you can start from wherever you are. That's the cool thing. All right. So let's jump in. And the other thing I want you to know, because we're streaming this on all different, in all different places, in case you're not watching it on Facebook, I want you to know that I have a free online classroom. It's called the Virtual Assistant Connection. Just type the Virtual Assistant Connection in the search bar at the top and you'll see my picture and you can join. Click the join button. There's lots of resources there. So even if you are a part of that community, we're over 12,000 people, and you don't know it. If you look up at the top, it says guides. You say units. Click on guides. There's a wealth of information in there that can help you. All right, on your journey. So let's jump in. And please, all your questions, just flood them in the comments. If you're watching the replay, just tag me and I'll jump in and answer your question. So I want to get us all on the same page, because I think that a lot of people who are thinking about being VAs are thinking, I have to have some special skills. I have to have, this high-end, niche. If I'm going to charge big money, they think they think a lot of things, and I think it's because we make stuff up in our head when we don't really know. And so I just want to blow through this myth right here of what a VA is and what you need to know to get started. Okay, and I'm going to go into great detail. So a virtual assistant provides administrative, technical, or creative assistance to clients, but instead of working full time for one person or an organization, he or she works virtually, usually from home, providing the same service to a variety of clients. So that's really the difference, is that I don't have a boss. I have clients, and I work from home, and I choose my own hours, and I work for a lot of different people. And we're going to talk about more about that, and about how it feels more risky, I think, in the beginning to go out on your own, but I'm going to talk about why it's a super smart thing to do. All right. So that's what a virtual assistant is. So you could be a bookkeeper. You could specialize in graphics. You could specialize in web updates. You could specialize in calendars and formatting Word documents, and creating PDFs and balancing someone's checkbook. Any of those skills, those life skills, are very valuable. Okay. So these are the 7 questions that I came up with. I'm going to just buzz through them really quickly. If you have others, please interrupt me. You won't throw me off. Just pop them in the chat. So the questions that I'm going to prepared to talk about are you ready to work on your own? What do you need to get started? Where do I get clients? How much money can I earn? What training's required? Can I work part-time? And who hires virtual assistants? Okay. All right, so let's jump in on these questions. Are you ready to work on your own? All right, well, the thing that will separate you, well, let me put that a different way. The thing that will make you the most successful as a virtual assistant is treating your virtual assistant business as an actual business. So the first question is really to ask yourself, do you want to be a business owner? So the difference here is your clients are telling you what to do, but they're not telling you how to manage your business. So you have to be willing to think about things like, where will I get clients, and how will I structure my day, and how much will I charge? And you have to save for taxes, and you probably want to file, estimated, what's it called? When you send money to the IRS or whatever your governing body is, estimated taxes. You have to make estimated tax payments. You have to track your expenses. You have to track your revenue. So it's running a business. And while it doesn't have to be overly complicated, it's a different mindset from being someone's helper. And so you don't have to have a lot of infrastructure, you can be a VA and not even have a website, especially when you're first getting started. But you do have to have the mindset of, I'm running a business. You need to have, get a business bank account. We'll talk about that, and really think about yourself as a business owner. The next thing is you do need to be self-guided. If you're not, you need to put structure in place so that you get to your desk, because it's really easy. I love to putter. I am a putterer. I love to water the plants and pull the dead leaves off them. I love to, fluff the pillows on the couch and, walk around and think, oh, what if I move this picture here or there? And if that's you, that's totally fine. But you have to put parameters in place to make sure that you are able to get your work done, because For the most part, VAs, or I should say, I work by the hour. So if I'm not billable, I'm not making money. And so it's really important that I be at my desk a set number of hours every week. And it'll be different for everybody. But if I'm not at my desk and I'm not billing those hours, then I'm not going to hit my revenue targets. So it's critical that I know what that target is. We'll talk about that too. But also that I'm putting the billable time in to make that happen. So you do have to be self-guided, and I have rules. I don't do laundry during the day. I don't do the dishes. There's set hours that I'm here. I'm focused. I have a system for knowing what to do next. So I'm not fooling around thinking, oh, what should I do now? I know exactly what I'm going to do now. So being self-guided is important. And then you have to think about how much risk you're willing to take. And this is interesting because when I first put this question up, I've had this presentation for a while. I've been giving this, and in the beginning, it felt like a big risk to have my own business. And then I watched the people around me get fired or furloughed or laid off or whatever you want to call it, but their money stopped, and it's funny because I used to think, am I being crazy? Like, I had a really good job. I could figure out the mom thing, I'm walking away from a 401k. I have to pay my own health insurance. Like, am I crazy? And that would keep me up at night wondering, like, what the heck was I doing? However, while all that's true with the 401k, but the thing is you can do that too, because you can choose how much money you're going to make. So I have a 401. I don't have a 401k. I have an IRA. I have a lot of the things in place that I would have if I had a job, like a what's it called, HSA health savings account, so that my medical expenses are tax deductible. There are lots of things like that. My computer, part of my house, all these things are tax deductible because I'm running a business. So let's get back to the single point of failure that I want to talk about. So you do have you can put things in place if you're treating yourself like a business, to save for retirement and to do all those things. You also have multiple clients. So really, if a third of my clients went away, it would not take me down. It really would not take me down. However, if I had a job and a boss, one person can decide you're done and you're done. And that, there's really no discussion. So that's the thing that I realized before the pandemic, before everyone was working at home, that I really had much more job security, if you want to call it that, than people who have a job. Same thing with my brother. He has this hugely high paying job. He's like in charge of everything at a big national company. And they got bought. Somebody acquired them, and all of a sudden he's hitting the streets, and he got another job. But I think getting another job is completely different than getting another client. Getting another client is pretty easy, actually, and we'll talk about that. But so you have to keep that in mind and really judge for yourself how much, what are the risks for you, and they might not be what you think. Okay, so what do I need to get started? Let's talk about that. You definitely need a dedicated workspace. And it does not have to be big. Up until a year ago, I didn't have an office. I never had an office. I always had a spot. Let's see, where did I start? I started in the living room, and then I moved, and I was then in the living room still, but in like a little nook. When I got divorced, I moved into an apartment and had a little nook, and then we moved again. And I was in a bay window in the dining room, which worked. And then when I moved to Connecticut, I was in a little section of our bedroom that was separated from the bedroom part. And then a year ago, I thought, what am I doing? Like, we have a spare bedroom now because we're empty nesters and everybody's, no one was using the guest room. And I thought, holy cow. So I painted it, turned it into this beautiful little place where I sit. The key to the whole thing is dedicated. So you don't want to, there's no bed in here. So you don't want to have a place where people will come and sleep in your guest room and you're working there too, because people will come see you and you won't be able to work. You need to be able to leave your workout and have everything at your fingertips that you need so you can just sit down and work and concentrate. So I have all the tools that I need. I have my paper managed. I have a little a filing cabinet behind me where I keep, all the things that I need. And it's all at my fingertips. I'm not running to the kitchen to get the scissors. I have my own scissors, my own tape, my own everything right here. So that's really important. But again, most of the time, with the exception actually of the last year, my office nook was usually about this much wider than my desk on each side. Like, you really don't need a lot of space. All right, you need to be articulate about what you do. So this is something I teach in my courses, and that is when we're new, we tend to ramble, and someone says, "What do you do?" And we just start talking and talking and talking and talking, and they have no idea what we do. Here's my little friend. This is my bird right here, Broody. I call him Birdie, and he just jumped over from his little perch. I'm going to put him on my lap. Okay, so hopefully he'll behave. That's another perk. Your pets can come to work with you. So back to this, you want to be articulate. You want to practice what you say so that people will remember it and understand it and can refer you. So you definitely need that, and it's something that you need to practice. If you go look over at the Rocket Girl Show in the guides, which are quick videos, there's several videos about that. You need to be clear about your pricing, because can you imagine what it's like if someone says, "Oh, great, I'd love to work with you. How does your pricing work?" And they're usually not that crystal clear in their question. They're usually not comfortable asking that question. So we have to be very clear. And what I say, and again, you can look at the Rocket Girl Show. There's lots of information about that, and on the blog as well at the Virtual Assistant Connection. I say it's really simple. Here's how it works, and I explain how my pricing works, so that they can make a decision or not. It's not about, I don't change my pricing for each client or each job. I have an hourly rate. It's my rate. It's not negotiable. And that's the way that works. So by being clear, people can make a decision. Can they afford me? Can they, how much work do they want to give me? What do they need me for? But that's really important, because, think about how it feels if you ask someone to help you with something and it's like, well, if I could probably, and you're discounting yourself before they've even heard your actual number, right? So there's a lot to learn about that, but all can happen. You need to think about where you're going to get clients. And the good news is that clients are everywhere. They're everywhere. When you're clear about what you do, and you're clear about what your prices are, and when you start telling people what you do. So I'll give you some examples. Let's see. My first client I got at the school bus stop. My second client, a wedding reception. You never know where they're going to come from. Not my third client, but my most recent client. Let's see. How did that work? It was a client that I'd worked with in the past on a different business. Now he's got a new business and he needs help with that. I never would have guessed this guy would have hired me again, like not in a million years. Because it was like he had, I shown him everything that he wanted to learn, and he was off. And I don't think I've talked to him in like 8 years, and boom, he was right there. But the key is that clients are everywhere. My daughter's driving school instructor, school owner hired me. The owner of my dry cleaner hired me. Friends, relatives, people I never would have imagined have hired me. So clients are everywhere, and there is no shortage at all. All right, so let's talk about the sprinkling method. The sprinkling method is what I teach in my courses, and there's also webinars about that in the up in the guides at the top of the group. There's one whole webinar. It's called How to Get Great Clients. You can look for that, and you can also look. There's a video called I'm not sure what it's called, but it's a picture. The opening slide, which you see in the little video preview, is sprinkles, like Jimmy's on ice cream. So you can't miss it. It's white. The sprinkling method is where you systematically tell everyone about your work and stay in touch with them so that they'll be able to remember you and refer you. And there's lots of different ways to do that. One of the ways is to send an email newsletter. I'm a big fan of that. In fact, I have a course all about email newsletters. And right now it's the bonus. If you join the VIP club, you get the whole course, including newsletters that I've written and had professionally edited. If you're interested in learning MailChimp and learning how, it's all in there. So check it out. So Newsletters are one way because I'm sending an article about the work that I do to everyone that I know. Other ways are what I call stay in touch emails, which are emailing a couple of people every day, Monday through Friday, just checking in. I'm never selling. I'm never doing things that make people uncomfortable. I'm not doing things that make me uncomfortable. I'll have a Zoom meeting with somebody. We'll have, what do they call it now? Zoffy, Z and Zoffy on Zoom. And I had one just the other day. We connected talking, how's work? How's this? How's your family? She's telling me about her renovation in her house. And it's just a nice way to connect. And what happens is, how when you do this and you stay in touch with people that you know from the past and new people that you've met, think about when somebody asks you, do you know do you like your dentist? I love my dentist. I love him so much, which is a good thing because we have a tight relationship. I have a lot of dental stuff going on. And anyway, my point is that when someone says, do you know a good dentist? I immediately say, you should go see him. Here's his website. Here's, this is why I love him. And so this is how I get clients. People will say, they'll be talking, they'll be having coffee or Zoffy or whatever. And they'll say, I really need someone to help me with these things in my business, my administrative tasks. And they'll say, oh, have you met Belinda? You should be she knows my stuff. It's really good. Or I don't work with them and they've heard from someone else, or, whatever it is, but referrals are the best clients ever. And so that's how it works. So that's why you want to sprinkles, and people naturally do that. I love it when people ask me who my dentist is. I can't tell you how many people I've sent. It's so amazing. Okay. So sprinkling method, that is really important. All right. How much can I earn? So you really can make as much money as you want. And I know that that's hard to believe, but you get to decide how much you charge an hour. You get to decide how many hours you're going to bill a week, and that equals how much you want to earn. So I've set really specific targets for myself that I'm billing between 35 and 37 hours every week. My hourly rate is either $90 or $100, and I'll talk more about that. Well, actually, I'll talk about it right now. So how that works is my virtual assistant business is called Rocket Girl Solutions. And when I came up with something called the Rocket Girl debit card. And here's what that is. People prepay my time, so they pay me ahead of time for either 5 or 10 hour chunks. And so that's sort of like a package. The hours are good for a year. So it takes all the pressure off of someone. They can buy the hours, and some of my clients will buy 10 hours, every week, every 2 weeks, once a month, twice a year. And it doesn't matter to me at all because I'm paid up front and I have the money. I don't give refunds. It's a very simple solution. And the other thing is it's totally self-serve. So every week I send an email to all of my clients and I say, you have 3 hours left and here's a link to buy more time. And the email is the same every time. And on Monday, 3 people bought 10-hour packages for $900 each. And I didn't have to do anything other than send them this email. They're in the groove. They understand how the system works. I explain it to them up front and they love it. And the benefit from the point of view of the virtual assistant is that people are not thinking, oh, I want to ask Belinda to do this, but I know she's going to send me a bill. So then I'm going to pay her. And do I have the cash? Blah, blah, blah. Instead, they say, oh, I have 5 hours. She could do this, she could do that. And that's exactly what happens all day long. So it's terrific. And it allows me to have a lot of clients. I have over 40 clients. 11 of them are really active. They need me an hour a week or, several hours a month. And, and then it goes from there. And then I have some that I'm just sort of like on call with, which is completely fine. I'm completely fine with that. It works out really well. Now, so it depends on your skills, but more than that, it depends on your confidence, because you're going to have to say that big number. You're going to have to say, I charge $50 an hour, which is where I started. I billed $50, charge $50 an hour. You can buy 10 hours. It's $500. So that's the whole trick, to be able to say it confidently and to believe it's a number that can be true for you. The reason that I said $50 an hour is that's what I made kind of in corporate. With benefits and stuff, I made a little more. But I thought, you know what, my brain is my brain, and the market has said that my brain is worth $50 an hour, and that's what I did. And then I raised my rates a little bit over time until I got to the rates where I am now, and it's worked out really well. And everybody's not a fit, but I don't need everybody to be a client. I don't have time for everybody to be a client. So I have my little, bunch of people, and we just continue to work together. So it's really nice. Let me know if you have any questions about pricing. So I just did tell you my story, but let me know if you have any questions. There have been years that, here's a good example. When I moved here to Connecticut, I think I had about 30 clients. I was making $100,000 a year. I wasn't charging $90 or $100 yet. And I wanted to make friends. I had Greg, I had Emily, but I left all my friends in Boston, and I had some really great friends, and I wanted to build a community here. So I started to go out and do networking and meet people. Effectively, I was sprinkling everywhere. And anytime someone said, you should meet so-and-so, I did. And again, because I wasn't selling, it didn't feel icky. I was just introducing myself, telling people what I did, chit chat, talk about our kids, whatever. And what happened that year was that my revenue went through the roof because I was telling so many people. Usually I would have like a coffee once every 2 weeks, and I would go to a networking event once a month. Well, I really turbocharged it. I was going to 3 networking events a month. I was having coffee with 1 or 2 people a week, just to try to establish myself. In that particular year, that's the only thing I changed. I didn't change my pricing. I made $146,000 just me doing work as a virtual assistant without even a team. So that's the whole thing. You don't have to wait for a boss to say to you, okay, I'm going to give you a 2% raise and blah, blah, blah. You just decide, I'm raising my rates. And it's funny because some of the people I have 2 classes that I'm offering. One is called the Launchpad, and the other is the VA Accelerator. And they just started 3 weeks ago. And the students that are in the class, they're all raising their rates, because the first thing I say to them is, how much are you charging? And I'm like, let's just raise that $10 right away. And then they get clients right away. One of them, well, actually several of them, have had zero pushback, and she's not charging nothing. She's at $60 an hour. And so she's raising her rates again. Tammy Potter, hello. What kind of work do you find yourself doing mostly? That's a good question. Okay, thank you for that. It depends, and my business has evolved over time. The type of clients I have now are very different. So I work primarily with solo professionals, so people who work on their own, like financial planners, nutritionists, marketing consultants. Who else do I have? I'm just trying to think of what I've been doing today so far. So people who work on their own, they're mostly middle-aged, because I'm flattering myself to say I'm middle-aged, but we'll just go with that for now. So they're about my age, 40 to 70, or maybe I have probably a couple clients that are older than that. And what I typically do is, well, a really wide variety. So today I'll tell you what I did so far. All right, so my client, Robin, who's a nutritionist, it's National Disordered Eating Day. Who knew? Week. And so she interviewed, I should remember the person's name. I can't think of it. Anyway, she interviewed someone who won the Olympic medal for cross-country skiing, who had an eating disorder, and wrote a book. So what I did was, she interviewed her. I uploaded the audio to her website, which is very simple to do. Then she gave me a email newsletter. I put it into Constant Contact with some pictures and linked it to the website. And then I sent her a test. She looked at it, approved it, and I sent it out to her list. And then I took the same information and I put it on her WordPress website, on her blog, which is very simple to do. Then I sent her the link, and she will put it on social media. And then there's one more step. Oh yeah. And I need to put this on my calendar. Next week, I'll send her the report from Constant Contact showing her how many opens, how many clicks, bounces, and things like that. So that's something I did this morning. Then I did the same thing for my financial planning client. There was no video. Well, there was a video. She uses a tool called BombBomb. And so I just grab, what she does is she makes videos and then they're hosted on a website. And I never had seen this before, but she showed me how. I grabbed the code, I put it into MailChimp. And so I did the exact same thing, put it on her website. And then for Michelle, next Wednesday, I'll take that same article and I'll put it on LinkedIn for her as an article. Then this is like newsletter day. I do a lot of newsletters. So I'm in the process of doing 2 more newsletters for 2 more financial planners. They all like publish the same week. It's kind of interesting, no matter where they are. So I'm doing that. I'm putting captions on a video, using a tool called Veed.io. So basically what I do is I upload it, you click a button, the subtitles are added. I'm watching the video, making sure the words are matching. If they're not, I click stop, and then I change the words, and then I upload it to, Vimeo, which is where it's stored, and then my client gets the link. So I do a lot of stuff like that. What else have I been doing this week? I'm trying to remember. I have a client, we're meeting today at 5. I help him with his webinars. So I don't do any writing, I don't do any graphics, and I do minimal website stuff. I have people that they're not really on my team because I don't pay them. My clients pay them directly, but we work together. And the clients love that because they come to me and something happens to their website and it's beyond what I can do. I say, you want me to have Barry handle that? They're like, yeah, that'd be great. So I email Barry and take care of it. I create email newsletter templates, which is really easy these days. You just like drag and drop the boxes in, put the words in. Some of my clients, I create Word documents for them with their logo and an article or something like that. I fix up PowerPoint presentations. Like there'll be crazy colors and I make them look like their brand essentially. So I do a lot of things that are, I set up Zoom accounts for people. One of my clients, she has 3 coaches that work for her, and she wanted me to just set up the Zoom account and then put the username and passwords on her password document so she could get them. That same client, I set up a Jot form for her to ask survey questions to people who are her coaching clients. They do group coaching clients. And then what I did was I downloaded it. They gave me an example of the report that they used to do when they used SurveyMonkey. And so she asked me to create a Word document showing the results. So like I went into Jot and you can get graphics. I did like a screenshot and then I made it the right size and put it in. It turned out pretty. I was able to change the graphics to the color of their logo. I actually had fun doing that. Let's see what else. So I do calendar management where a client will be going on this is a year ago, be going on a trip and they need me to schedule meetings with 10 people in LA over a 3-day period. So I do that and I figure out how much time it takes to drive between each meeting, and I confirm all the meetings, put them on his calendar, send the meeting invites. And then I do other stuff that's higher tech, like I might do some marketing automation stuff, where I set up a series of emails that go out. If, someone opts into something, like they give us their user, there's going to be a marketing roundtable tomorrow for one of my clients. So what I'll do is I'll send the morning of email reminder, and then I'll download the recording. I'll put the captions on it. But it's mostly it's very varied. I do a ton of newsletters, a ton of putting them up on their website, putting them on social media, but I'm not really a strategist. I do the execution of the work. And because I've been doing it for so many years, I'll help them. If there's a client just starting a new business and they don't have any clients, I'll say, well, what about a newsletter? Here's some examples of how you can do that. And then we can put it on your website. And so I show them. So that's the kind of work that I find myself doing mostly. I hope that's helpful. And when I first started out, I knew Constant Contact, Office, and I knew a little HTML, like really little, because I built a website for my nephew on AOL a million years ago. And I like to kind of putter with that, but I can't like build some wow-zow website from scratch. I can't do that. Yeah, and lately, because I've been working in Kajabi, people have been asking me. Kajabi is like a platform for online courses, and that's what we use at the Virtual Assistant Connection. And so people have noticed that, and they've asked me to do that. But for the most part, good. I'm glad. And then the other thing that happens a lot is my clients train me, like the ones I was just talking about with the Jot form and everything. She showed me the surveys. She showed me the Survey Monkey stuff. She said, "Can we do this someplace else?" And I said, "Jot form," because I had done that, and it's less expensive. And I told her how it worked. And then the rest of the work, like she's asked me to. She asked me yesterday, in fact, I'm going to do it in a little bit. She wants me to take the participant list of people who sign up for her training course, create an attendance sheet for her so she can check them off every time they come. And then I'm going to log into her LinkedIn account, and I'm going to connect with all the participants that I can figure out who they are, connect her to them on LinkedIn. And then I'm going to download their pictures by just right mouse clicking, because I'm going to make like a little, what is it called? Like a little directory for her of their pictures and different information that she wants to know based on a survey that they fill out. So while she's teaching them, she has a quick way to just see who they are, who's the boss, who's not the boss. So stuff like that. And it's different for every client, the way I do it for the most part. So there's a lot of in the moment figuring it out. So I hope that actually makes you feel better, because it's not, if you're a specialist, like an Infusionsoft specialist, you need to know everything about it. But if you're a generalist like me, I kind of like float through, and figure stuff out as I go. All right. Okay, good. Okay, what training is required? So we just talked about that a little bit. So the first thing, okay, so there's a couple things. One, if you go to the virtualassistantconnection.com, up at the top, you'll see download the ultimate virtual assistant money making task list. So click on that, put in your email address. I probably already have it if you're in the Facebook group, and your name, and you'll get a 12-page document that tells you a million things you can do. There's probably stuff that is in there that you have no idea what it is. Don't worry about it. It's just this huge list. I probably left some stuff out. But the thing is you can start with 1, 2, or 3 skills. Like I started with Word. I knew PowerPoint kind of. I knew Excel a little bit. When my first client came to me and said, "Can I fix up her PowerPoint?" I said, "You bet." And then I got myself in the car like that day, and I went to the mall and I bought PowerPoint for Dummies. And I figured out, I reminded myself like how to do it. And that's fine. I did that on my time. And then once I figured out, okay, I remember the slide master, this is how the logos go, and this is how I change the colors, then I started billing her. But go there, and the list is meant to make you feel happy, not sad that you don't know things on most of the 11 pages. There are things on that list I have no idea how to do. All right. I do not know how to do. So, but go over there and pick some things out. The other thing is, in about a month, a little less, we're going to have a challenge. No one knows about this yet at all. And it's going to be all about how to get really great clients. And part of that is we're going to walk through how to choose your services. Okay. So the other thing, so the training of the work, the clients train you, you figure it out, stuff, and then the real thing you have to figure out is the business of running a business, about getting the EIN number, about having your separate bank account, how to talk to clients, how to fire a client, how to onboard a client. That's the stuff that will set you apart and make you successful. And that's what I love to teach people. And like I said, if you go over to the guide section in the big group, you'll find the big Facebook group, the Virtual Assistant Connection. You'll find a lot of information there. All right, so I have 2 more questions, but I want to just pause, have a sip, and see if there are any other questions. I'm going to wait for a minute because it takes a minute to catch up. Okay, let's talk about working part-time. You can totally work part-time. You can definitely do this while you have a job. You can go full-time right away. Like, you can do whatever you want. I just got off of a Zoom call with someone who has a full-time job. It's not taking her full-time hours. And she's building her business while she does this, with all the different ways that I talked about, telling people about your business. You do have to make sure, if you have a job, that you didn't sign something that says you can't start your own business, or that it's not against company policy. So definitely check that out. But you can work part-time. So here's the thing. You have to consider the type of work. I have clients who will send me their email newsletter. They're so sweet. On Monday, they'll say, I'm thinking about doing a newsletter this week. If I get it to you on Wednesday, can you have it? Or I'll get it to you Tuesday. Can you have me attest to me by Thursday so we can send it Friday? Yes, I can do that. Easy peasy, right? Because I've got Tuesday and Wednesday all day, all night to do it. So I can do it anytime I want. And she doesn't care if I do it at midnight. I would never be able to be awake and doing that at midnight, but she doesn't care at all. She just wants the test and she wants it done. Okay. Now I have other clients where it is almost as if I am outside their door. So I have a client who so I have 3 screens. On one of the screens is Bob's world. All of his tabs are open. When somebody emails me on his account, I have my own Belinda at hiscompany.com. It makes a sound, and I'm watching that all the time. I'm part of a big team, and we're doing lots of stuff. And my job is to be sort of like the technology person, the MailChimp and he's having a roundtable tomorrow. So I'm going to send out the email, and, I just helping with all the logistical, tactical pieces. So when he hears from me, if he emails me, unless it's very unusual, he hears from me in an hour or less. So that is not a part-time client, because if he didn't hear from me for a whole day, he'd probably call 911 to make sure I was okay, because that's how I've set up the relationship. And so the key here is to set expectations, right? You have to definitely set expectations. And then you also, you need to keep a consistent schedule. So he knows that I'm at my desk, he counts on me sort of 10 to 5. I'm at my desk different hours. But for example, I used to go to Boston once a month. I would go to a networking event up there, and I would let him know. And I decided I wanted to be billable that day. I could have taken the day off and said, I won't be available. Just want you to know. But instead, what I said to him is, got my laptop. I've got my hotspot, which is a portable internet. I'm going to check your stuff before I leave in the morning and get everything all confirmed and ready. After lunch, I'll check again. And then when I get back early evening, I'll just check in to make sure everything's done. I'm just going to take care of the important, sort of urgent stuff. And then I'll get back on track the next day. And he's totally fine, and it also lets him know, because there have been sort of emergencies. One time, I don't actually remember what it is, but I do remember being in the meeting and eating lunch, and he called me, and I excused myself and I stepped away because he was expecting me to be available, and I knew he would only call me if something were on fire, and it was, and I fixed it, and it was fine. And again, I could have said, I'm not available all day, but I chose to scoop up those billable, the couple hours that I put in. All right, Kim Parker. Hello, Kim Parker. Do you pay for your own software licenses or bill the clients for anything necessary, especially if it's out of the ordinary? Okay, I'm happy to answer that. And I also want to tell you, if you go to the vaconnection.com, click on blog, I wrote a whole article about that. And the reason I'm definitely going to answer it, but I sat down for a whole hour and thought about it, and I wrote it all out in words that make sense. So I'm going to do my best here, but my best work is over there in the blog. Okay. So, and you could just, I think it's called Who Pays for What. If you Google, put that in the search, I'm sure you'll find it. So here's how this works. So, I pay for the software to run my business and for the sort of normal things every computer has. So I have my own Microsoft Office. I pay for my own email accounts. However, I have email accounts with for my clients, they pay for that. I don't pay for it at all. They sometimes I set it up, and I have almost all my clients' credit cards, and I say, you want me to put that on your Amex? You want me to put that on your Visa? And we set that up. So they pay for their own email accounts for me. I pay for really the things to run my own business. So my computer. So you're asking me about software though. So Jot Forms, I have my own account that I use for actually the VA connection. So I pay for that. But there are probably 5 or 6 clients who have JotForm accounts, and they have their own accounts. So you want to think about it like, if you left, let's say you won the lottery and you bought a mountain house, in Idaho, is there going to be a problem for someone to step into your place? And so they pay for, Jot, MailChimp, Constant Contact, Buffer, Hootsuite, Meet Edgar. They have their own separate accounts for all of that stuff. And then I pay for Photoshop and Adobe Acrobat because I use it. There are some tools like that, like Photoshop and Acrobat, that I pay for because if enough people want me to edit PDFs and I make enough money that it's worth me having that for $12 a month or whatever it is, instead of saying, oh yeah, I can't do that. It's just better. So that's part of, my business. But people who have, like Infusionsoft accounts or any of that, even Dropbox, they have their own Dropbox account. They pay for all of that themselves. So the question you want to ask yourself is, if they weren't my client, would I be paying for that? And so for me, Photoshop is something, I've had forever. But even Canva, if somebody needed me, Canva's like on the edge. I think that VAs kind of need that. But if it's for a specific client and you never would use it ever, I would say what you say is, in order to do that, I'm happy to do that, love to do that. Do you already have a Canva account, or should we open one? Same with a newsletter. Do you have how have you been sending it in the past, or is there a way you'd like to send it? I'm happy to make a recommendation. Great. You can set the account up, or I can set it up. If you want to give me your credit card, just let me know what's best for you. Right. So that's how you talk about that. But no one's ever expected me to have pay for anything. And I could totally see how that it's such a blurry line, but you don't have to worry about that. But check out that article because like I said, I did really think about it. And I think I made a total list of everything that I pay for in that article too. Thank you, Kim. Okay. All right, so consistent schedule, critical. All right. Who hires virtual assistants? Like everybody who knows what we do. Now, people with jobs typically don't, but these are like the kind of people that, my clients, small business owners, authors, financial planners, coaches, consultants, nutritionists, recruiters, real estate agents. And I've had VAs in the past. I have someone that helps me with the VA connection because it's a lot. It's a lot to do, and I do all my own client work. But when I get a new client, my VA onboards the client because what that means is she adds them to my CRM, my address book. She tags them. She puts them in my MailChimp list so they'll get my newsletter. I have a list, and she does all those things for me because it's much better for me to be working at my rate and then pay her to help me so I can keep my head in the game with my clients during the day. So VAs are amazing. And, I have to say, when I go to a networking event and I say to people, and here's what I say, I'm a virtual assistant. I work with solo professionals and people who work on their own. I help them with all of their administrative tasks like email newsletters, updating their websites, and calendar management. And when I say that, and I say the same thing every single time, this is what we talked about in the first one or first or second slide, I don't remember, about being clear. And people know what that means. And they either say, I've thought about doing that. How do you like that? Or they say, well, actually 3 things. They'll say, I really need somebody to do that kind of stuff for me. Really? Like that's a thing? You could do that? Or they'll say my spouse or my friend. it's amazing. And what happens is, in that case, what I say to them is, hey, if you go to my website, Rocket Girl Solutions, down at the bottom of every page, there's a link. You can get on my calendar. It's not a sales call. Happy to talk to you, about what you're thinking about. And then they get on my calendar, and some of them I have to be careful. I don't just let people hire me. It has to be a good fit. Hire me that probably weren't a good fit because I had to figure it out, and I needed to make money because I didn't have any. But I've gotten more selective over time because I've learned, what the red flags are and what's not going to work, 10 years in. But people, they get on my calendar and we talk, we make sure it's a good fit. And then, if we move forward, it's great. It's really great. So we have a couple more minutes, 3 more minutes. I'm always think it's like magic how this ends on time. I don't know how I do that, but no matter what the topic, it seems to work out. I'm just going to pause a little bit and see if anybody here's the questions that we answered. You can just look at those and see if anything else jumps, and I'll think if I've left anything out. All right. Well, I want to tell you about something before we go then, but feel free to put more questions in. So if you want to take your business to the next level, I have a membership-based club. It's called the VA Connection VIP Club. And I started it, I guess I started about a year ago in May. There's about 100 members, which is a very small, tight-knit community. It's actually lovely. I spend a lot of time over there, and there's some benefits to it. One is that we have Q&A strategy calls twice a month. The members of the group send their questions to me ahead of time, and I always say this, but it's true. I feel like sometimes they're trying to stump me. So I answer their questions. I prepare ahead of time, like sort of a presentation, and we work it through. It's on Zoom, and we always have time for other questions at the end. So that happens twice a month, and they're recorded, and they're put over in the VIP Club vault. We have a private Facebook group, and it's very supportive. Being small, I'm in there several times a day. People are helping each other and really getting to know each other, which is fun. We have an accountability challenge. We have that twice a year where people set goals. It's a month long. There's like points and prizes and drawings. It's really fun. And that's going to be in May of this year, I think, and or maybe late April. We'll see. But that's coming up. That's really fun. And then there's the vault. And the vault has sort of everything in there that I've got. So it's got spreadsheets I use to run my business. It's got templates. It has the weekly webinar series is the biggest thing it has. So the weekly webinar series is every Wednesday. If you guys are new, it's free. You can check it out. We talk about something, for an hour relative to being a virtual assistant. And what happens is it's available for 24 hours, and then boom, it goes over to the vault. It's taken down, and it's only available over there. And I have to count, but we must have 50 by now for sure. I've been doing it for a long time. We talked yesterday. We talked about what is affiliate marketing and how can you make money. We talked about what is Kajabi. I gave an overview. We're going to talk about. I just made the list for the month, and it's escaping me. But you'll see it you'll see events coming up in the Facebook group as I post them. There's also exclusive job opportunities. People have asked me, do you know a VA who can help me with? And they fill out a form, and I post it in a special website just for VIP. And then there's something too. I know I'm buzzing through this, but I want to respect your time. There's a course. It's called the Done For You Email Newsletter System. And if you're just thinking about getting started, I highly recommend newsletters as a service. It's repetitive. It like every month, every week, it happens. And it's been a really steady way for me to earn money in a kind of low techish way. And so there's a whole course that is included. And it's $35 a month. And you can find it right here at thevaconnection.com. You can click on programs or / join the club, and you can cancel anytime. I'd love to have you check it out. So here's what to do next. If you're not a member of my free online classroom, please join. And then if you don't get my newsletter, the VA Buzz, scoot on over to the VA Connection and you can sign up right at the top. Okay, so I don't exactly understand this question. What are different to land clients. Can you say a little bit more, please, about that? And we'll just pause for a minute. And if anybody else has any other questions about anything we talked about, and we'll just wait for this Facebook user to hopefully give me a little bit more information. I'm trying to think what that might mean. Maybe it's what are different ways to land clients? If that's the question, the way that I get clients is by offering 30-minute free, I call them, some people call them discovery calls. I call them here we go. New creative ways to land clients. Lately, it's hard to get noticed in VA groups being very competitive with seasoned VAs. Yes, that is actually the last place I would look for a client, is in a VA group. I've never even tried to do that. What I think is going to be a lot easier is to stay in touch with all the people you know. So you get clear about how you talk about what you do, and then send an announcement to all the people that you know. Seriously, go watch that Getting Clients. Two things: the Getting Client video, it's an hour, and it tells you exactly how to get clients. And the other thing is, keep an eye out for the challenge. It's going to start on, I think it's March 22nd, and it's going to be 5 weeks of free training all about getting clients. But none of my clients have come from social media. They're all referrals. The first one was the bus stop dad, and then I met someone at a wedding reception, and then oh, that's okay about the typo, no problem. And then it's hard to type when you're in the moment and live. So that's really where the best clients are. Just start telling people everywhere you go. Someone will say, hey, how's it going? Great. I just started a new business. Yeah, I'm a virtual assistant. I help people with, and then name 3 things. And the key to that is my services list is a whole web page long. It's really long. But if I tell them all that stuff, they're not going to remember, and they're not going to connect with it. So that's why being able to talk about what you do is really critical. And we're going to talk about, there's a whole day in the 5-day challenge just about that too. So keep your eyes open for that. So there's not a lot of creativity to how I get clients. It's just really systematically staying in touch with people I know. My newsletter is a big part of it. Growing my list, emailing people, and maybe check out the VIP club, because a couple of things. One, that done for you email newsletter system that I was talking about, that's a free bonus as long as you're a member. It has newsletters already in it that I've written and had professionally edited. So you can learn MailChimp, you can learn, specifically, and start sending them out. It's a whole system for doing that. And then once you write that newsletter, there's a lot of stuff you can do to get noticed with it on social media. Yeah. But you're right. It's very hard in a sea of virtual assistants in a VA group to get hired. So I would put your energy in a different direction. Okay, everybody. I think that's it. Unless anybody has any other questions. I'm really glad you came. Thank you for being so engaged. Thank you for asking really great questions. And if you have any others that come to mind, just post it here in the replay. You're welcome. You're very welcome. Post them in the replay and tag me, and I will answer you. All right. So have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the Facebook group. Bye.